Hey there, you're listening to College Conversations, a podcast where two college guys talk about anything that comes to their minds. I'm Jake.
And I'm Chase. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the episode.
This episode is a very special episode of the podcast because for the first time, we have guests on the show. Today, we have the Clinton boys themselves, Micah and Mondo, here in the room with us.
What's up?
Hi. We're really excited to have these boys with us today. We're going to have a special format of the episode called Dorm Room Debates, where we have a bunch of questions that we've kind of prepared, and we're going to just talk about them and see what shenanigans we get up to. I'm sure there's plenty of differing opinions in here about certain things. Mm-hmm. So,
I don't appreciate the derogatory term "boys" that you give to us.
Yeah,
boys.
we are Clinton men.
Yeah, we are men. And I will thank you to remember.
All right. No longer Clinton boys.
I prefer Clintonite.
Clintonite.
Or
Clintonite's a fun one.
Clintonian. Yeah,
Clintonian. Yeah.
Clintonian. I like that.
Yeah. Real quick, for anyone who doesn't know who Micah and Mondo are, Micah and Mondo are friends of mine from the ACM that we met on like the first day of ACM classes, I would say. We met in Studio One, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Was it Studio
Yeah,
One?
it was Studio One.
Yeah, because that was our first class that we
That
did.
was the first class of the year,
Yeah,
right?
it was a Monday class.
It was a Monday class? Yeah. And so we met first day, and we've been friends ever since. It's been beautiful.
I don't know this man. I'm kidding. No, it's been great. It's been great being friends with you, Jake.
We've
And
walked
Chase.
all the way to Casey's and back. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
We've taken days journeys. to
Days,
Casey's.
journeys, yeah.
We followed the swans migration. It was great, really.
It's a great bonding experience.
Didn't know Jake could fly. But yeah.
People used to say I looked like a goose back in school, so maybe.
For real?
Yeah.
I forgot about
You
that.
forgot about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
People said I look like a goose, and so maybe I can't fly. I don't know.
Kids are weird and Broken Arrow.
You
Yeah.
got that right.
I don't know. They're probably weirder in Clinton.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
Another update for our listeners is that instead of Saturdays, we're going to try to make Sundays the new tentative release day to give ourselves a little bit more time to edit these and get these published out.
Saturday was too tight. It wasn't working very well. So Sunday it is. All right. What are we talking about today?
Today's topic is superpowers. So, top 3 superpowers and why?
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Well, I have an honorary superpower idea,
Oh, God.
right? And it's one that my older brother told me about, right? Because he's been visiting here at UCO. And what it was is, what if you could make a force field around yourself that made everything room temperature?
Like inside the force field is room temperature.
Exactly.
So you were always like at 72 degrees.
Yeah, not your body itself, but
The air.
the
Yeah.
area around you is. And
That'd be
you
very
might
convenient.
and
So-
you might think it might be useless, but hold on. Imagine if it's like -3 degrees out, and you're like, nah, I want it to be room temperature. So now it's in the 70s for you, or it's 110.
House is on fire.
Exactly, it's 110 out during the summer. You're like, nah, I'm chilling at 70. You know.
So riddle me this then. Why not just make it control over the weather and not just make it a sphere? Like, are you purposefully screwing everyone else around you?
Yeah, that's
Is it
definitely
like
it.
Yeah.
It's a very
selfish
it's a selfish
superpower
power.
where it's like,
It's just
you
a-
suck, you get to stay outside this sphere, I'm chilling, you're not.
And then, like,
Yeah.
as soon as you leave, everyone's like, "Duh."
Exactly.
How big is the sphere around yourself? Like, can other people be inside the sphere?
I'd say it's like the distance from like here to here.
It's like it's
Whoa,
personal
what?
bubble size.
I was thinking, like, a building size.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Dang. So you have to be, like, on top of the other person if you want to share the room temperature.
Yeah, you'd have to be hugging them, you know.
Pretty much.
That
to be
sucks,
in
dude.
their bubble.
I was on board and you lost me. I'm out. It's like Shark
Well, it's
Tank.
not
Like, it's
for
a no.
you.
Well, here's another honorary one that he suggested.
Oh,
What if you
boy.
could make anyone's breath smell bad?
What?
Isn't that just like feeding them an onion or something?
No, like
But it's like unexplainable.
yeah, it's
Like
just like
you just snap your finger and now like
It's like
my breath
snap
is
your
bad.
fingers and people have bed breath.
yeah. So I can be like, man, Jake has been annoying me all day. I'm gonna make his breath smell bad, and just with the snap.
He
of
said
a
it like
finger.
it's not like you can brush. Like it has like a timer.
Yeah,
and
it
will
has a
not
timer.
go away unless that timer ends.
No matter what you do, you will have bad breath for like a certain amount of time.
You could like drink rubbing alcohol or something. It wouldn't go away.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend drinking rubbing alcohol to get rid of bad breath.
Well,
But
You've
you
never
do
been to
you,
Clinton.
you know. I don't know what you do in Clinton, but that's not really how we do it in the rest of the world. So
but
So what I'm hearing is, if I ever need small superpowers, like the small lame ones that people are like, what's a lame superpower? I'm coming to you for ideas.
Yeah. Here's another one.
Well, I did say top 3. So
here's
what's
your
number
third.
3?
Yeah, okay. What it was is, what if you could teleport anywhere, but it was like a 50-50 dice roll over like, you get teleported somewhere random or the location you're actually thinking of.
so it's like IRL chorus fruit, basically.
What's that?
Is that
Course-
like
is
from
that-
Minecraft,
Minecraft chorus fruit.
you know, like the stuff that just
Oh,
randomly.
yeah,
comes?
exactly. Yeah.
But there's a 50-50 chance that like if you want to go somewhere, it'll take
Yeah,
you there.
so if you're like, man, I kind of want to go to like Italy or something, it's that, or you could be like, it'll just transport you to like Russia, you know?
I got 2 questions. One, could you get teleported into like the middle of the ocean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
it is
two,
most of the
well,
planet.
Is there a limit on the number of times that you can try? Because
No.
technically you could just like keep rolling it.
Yeah, re-rolling it.
Yeah.
Or is it literally the 50% chance is just an inconvenience to you
Is there a
teleporting?
cooldown to this thing?
Uh,
Or could you just instantly like be like,
Because if there is no cooldown, it
Yeah.
would literally just be just hit and spam.
No, there is no cooldown, but you have to constantly be thinking about it. So, like, for Chase's example, like, if you get teleported into the ocean, obviously you're going to get distracted because you're in the ocean.
Yeah, if you're like
So if
actively
it-
drowning.
Unless you can
You better
quickly
have like
think.
opened up all 7 chakras and be able to meditate in the middle of the ocean.
Exactly. So you're,
It's like
you're
take me to Orlando.
your only cooldown is your own mind if you're not concentrating.
so
on
it's
tele-
tied to your focus and concentration.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
that. That
How
makes sense.
well you can picture, or maybe that's it. The chance of you successfully teleporting is how well you're able to picture.
Now,
the
out of those
destination.
3 powers, which ones would y'all pick?
Teleportation,
Obviously the
easily.
teleportation.
Yeah, the teleportation one.
Like, just go to therapy, do like mind calming exercises.
You're telling me I wouldn't want the room temperature force field?
Wait, I have
Heck
to,
no,
I have to
dude.
go to
That's
therapy.
what an AC is for.
I have to go to therapy for this power. I'm picking the room temperature one now.
Yeah.
I'm anti-therapy. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm anti-mental health.
Dude,
That's a
brains
joke.
are not a thing.
Brains
okay?
are not a thing, bro. Just don't be sad.
All right, Micah, top 3.
Oh God, now I'm panicking.
Yeah, Jake, you better be thinking about these. Do you have them?
I have a couple. I
Okay,
think.
well then you be thinking.
Yeah.
Jake.
Wait, Micah,
Huh.
didn't you say you had one in
I had
mind?
one.
Okay.
Well, you're thinking of the other 2. Jake, what are your 3?
I don't know if I have 3, but I have a couple that I would like. So, my top pick for superpower would be super speed. That's my top pick.
Lame.
Yeah,
Lame.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
you-
until you hear how he describes it.
Oh.
So this is a big part of this episode is us like defining what superpowers actually are, because apparently we're going to have very different ideas about how this works.
Okay.
So
Jake has very hot takes on virtually everything. If you didn't know already,
apparently
I
I'm
know
full
we
of hot
argue a
takes.
lot, but
So
what's your definition of
super
the
speed is like, I base my idea of super speed on those scenes in movies where time like slows down and you go to
Okay.
their perspective. So in my mind, super speed is basically, I say it's super speed in quotation marks. When I explain this to Chase, he says it's not super speed, it's controlling
not.
time. Because
It's
what
just
happens is you
time dilation.
slow down time around you so that you're normal, but to everyone else, you're going super fast.
I think that's like a loophole super speed.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is you're going so fast that your time around you is slowing down, not the actual people's. Their time is.
I don't
going
think
fast.
I don't think it really matters which way you think about
I mean,
it.
the end product will be
yeah,
the same.
that's what I'm thinking. And
here's why it matters: is because in your definition, to go anywhere, to you you're just running normally.
Yeah, that's what I need to get to is
And this is why I
Oh,
don't think
yeah.
it's a superpower, because if you literally have to still run everywhere and it just seems like it doesn't take as much time, that sucks.
that's like how the movies portray it.
No.
Though.
Well, no, because they're actually still going fast. I
No,
mean,
because part of their super speed is their mind also speeds up.
yeah, you're just slowing
So
everything
they
down.
literally run like
you can
time
win a
does not
marathon,
sl-
but you still have to run it. I mean,
Yeah,
right.
That's
Like
what I'm saying.
time doesn't slow down for them. Time goes at the same time. They can just process everything fast enough.
I don't think that breaks my rules because you are going like from your perspective, everything else is going slower, so you have more time to react to things. So your brain and your body are going at the same time. Everything else is just going slower from your perspective. From everyone else's perspective, your body and your mind are still going fast, just like you're explaining.
But do you have your regular human stamina in
Yes,
this time
that's
slowed
the,
down?
That's the
No, that's
glitch
not
with
gonna
mine.
work.
See,
That's
that's
not
what
gonna-
I said.
that's
That's
not
what
for
I
me,
said.
dog.
That's
That's not
not
work.
super speed.
Hold
That's
on.
just time dilation.
But
Okay, I'm cool with it being time dilation, but in my mind, that's
It still works as super
that's the
speed.
end
Nah,
product. Is
dude.
super speed.
But the only thing
You only
that
have
sucks
super
is you-
speed for a 10-meter sprint.
and that's the thing that would suck about it is you would have to train to get good at cardio. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
In
you'd
my
have to
mind,
the
have good
Flash ain't got to
endurance.
do that. He just runs.
That's the thing. That was the whole point of the Speed Force. It was just kind of like, yeah, you can run fast now, no repercussions.
I don't know.
We make
I'm
it
with
a li-
Chase on this one.
I think
me and Jake make our powers a little interesting. You know,
I think it's
add the
more
cons.
fun if you tie, like, it's more interesting to think about superpowers if you tie them to still be limited in some
Jake
way.
tries to make things that are not based on logic fit into logical rule sets, which sometimes work, and in cases like these, doesn't really.
It works just fine for me. I don't
Yeah,
understand
I
what
don't
your
know about
problem
that
with
one.
it is.
But like,
Because if you can just do anything, all the time, it's just magic. There's no fun to it at that point. Like there's not rules. There's
I
not
mean,
balanced
there's
powers.
rules with super speed, though.
Well, yeah, there's rules.
What plot armor's for?
I don't want it to be like, oh, I have powers. I can just do whatever now. Like it's more interesting if you're still tied down to your humanness. Like you have your
I
extra.
guess.
You have powers, but you're still like you can only run as fast as you can run. In my version of super speed, you can't run around the world if you have super speed because you still have to physically run around the world.
That's lame, though.
You know?
See, and then in
So,
like
I have a
every
question.
DC thing ever, or like every super speed, if you're running fast enough, then you can run on water, so it doesn't matter.
Well, you can still run on water. You just have to still physically run the distance of the water. You can't just run
Well, how
across
does
the
that
ocean.
work? You can still run on water.
Yeah, you can still run on water.
But I
You
thought you
literally
said
just become
you weren't-
Jesus in your time slow
But
down.
I thought you said you weren't affected. It was just the time around you. How do you walk on water then?
Well, you're still going fast enough. Like you are
Wait.
going fast.
Wait,
See,
then what
this
are we
is
talking
what
about?
it's like to debate with him.
You're-
It's awful.
You're losing me. You're losing me more, Jake.
Like his arguments contradict each other.
That doesn't make any sense.
I think it makes perfect sense.
Explain how you can walk on water in that scenario. Like the science behind it.
Because the water is not going fast, you're going fast. Or like the,
No, that's
the
the
water.
that's the exact opposite of what you
okay,
just said.
The water is going slow. You're going normal. Okay,
Yeah, but you
It's-
still it's water.
well,
it's still the same thing. Like if you think about it as I'm going fast, so I can run on the water because the water is still normal. It's the same thing if you just shift it backwards so that the water's going slow and you're going normal. It's the same amount of distance. You're just shifting it around.
I'll see if I
conceptually.
can explain better. Basically, what he's saying is that everything super speed works the same as if we as we think of it. However, your endurance and stamina is human. You don't get any increased stamina.
Yes.
You don't get any increased.
That's what I've been saying the whole time.
Yeah, but you've been using really weird, vague terms
I'm trying
that
to
don't
explain
make
it.
any sense.
I'm trying to dive into like how that would actually work though, instead of just explaining it.
well, I think it'd be
And I
really
explained it good.
it'd be really convenient if like in a situation like imagine we had to go to ACM. You're running late. You have to be like at ACM in like 15 minutes. You know, like oh, I'm running there.
Yeah.
But then you have to run to ACM. Like you have to just like casually walk to ACM.
Uh-huh.
But it's like 15 miles.
But you'll be on time.
Yeah, but then like
Okay,
but
but
it's
how
a
long is it
regular
going to
human.
take you to get there? Like, if you thought about how long it would take you to get there, by the time you actually get to school and time goes back to normal, people are going to be like, dude, what's your problem?
Yeah,
and
you're,
you're
like,
going to literally
dying.
be dead. Because, like, it would have taken you, like, 8 normal human hours to get there.
That's why you learn to endurance yourself.
Exactly.
Like, part
Dude,
of
not even marathon runners could run far enough.
I think
For that to
15
work.
miles is nothing.
it's like what 25 miles.
Well,
People
okay,
run 60
even
miles
if
in-
it's like
I'd
a
like to see
regular.
how long it took you to run from here to the ACL.
It
Also-
would take me forever because I'm not
That's
trained
the
for
point.
it.
But have you even seen even like top of the line marathon runners after a marathon? They look like they're gonna keel over and die.
But you don't have to run it. You could walk it.
Well, yeah,
or
but
lightly jog.
yeah, okay, well,
You don't have to like. You don't
I'm
have
just
to
thinking,
actually
how
run.
bored out of your mind are you going to be? Because you're literally
earbuds.
just your life.
But wait, can you listen to music?
no,
Oh,
because
oh.
time is
No, you
slowed
couldn't.
down.
You just hear one. Bro.
Well, that's
You
why you
hear
have.
each individual sound wave smacking you.
That's why you make a specifically curated playlist of you edited these sounds.
It's
together.
like music
14
at
times faster.
14,000
Exactly.
times speed.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty fun. That'd be a workaround.
Okay,
Yeah.
but then you'd have to actually get technology that could do that.
I don't think there'd be technology that could go that fast. Depending on how fast you actually end up going, you'd have to like work it out.
And keep in mind, this is Jake's #1 superpower.
This is your number one. I
Hey,
thought this was your 3.
Jake, I have a question for your superpower. Does it affect cars, scooters, bikes,
No,
boats?
it's only you.
It's only you.
Yeah, it's you.
So,
So
you
you
can't like
can't
ride. You
take
can't
in
ride like
people.
the scooter and be doing super speed
You
with the
get in a
scooter.
car, rev it up, and it just nope.
It just doesn't go.
Well, I can understand like cars and boats, but like, could you ride a bike and because you're manually powering that, could it go faster? Like in
If
supers?
the material could handle you pushing on it like that and going that fast.
yeah,
Because
maybe.
the thing that you're riding on, like a scooter, is not like
like the wheels aren't durable to be
It's not
doing that
handled.
fast.
yeah,
It's not-
not dilating time like you are. So
To
it could,
it.
It's not
if it
built
can
for 1,000
physically
miles an
move
hour.
that fast in the real world in real time, then yeah. But most things probably can't move that fast in real time. So
What about like Heelys?
if you've got like industrial strength,
You get like a
Heelys,
scientifically enhanced pair of Heelys, and you're just going down the street 1,000 miles an hour in Heelys.
Then
but
there's
from my
like,
perspective,
do you-
I'm just
so
like
what I'm trying
rolling.
to say,
at
like,
that point, it's like, do your clothes go with you too? Like, what's the
I
what's
don't
the
know.
limit? Your clothes burn off as soon as
Yeah,
you
your
get
clothes
back.
probably tear
So
off
yeah,
of
so
you.
you ran a marathon all the way to ACM. You're butt naked. You're like, I'm here for class.
Yes.
But I'm here, and it only took
You
me
made it.
0.1 seconds.
Because like if Heelys worked, like what you could do is you could run for a little bit, Heelys, run for a little bit, Heelys. You know.
I could lay them out individually so I have them. So that leads me to another point that we were going to talk about. We can bring it up now. Is the reason that I envision it that way and you guys don't like it very much is because
I'm fine with it.
if super speed works like the general populace thinks about it, it is like the most overpowered thing in existence because you can just go anywhere. No one can catch you. Like no one should be able to beat you unless they can also go fast in like a fight, you know? So it's
That's
like
wh- Hollywood is stupid.
like speedsters
Plot armor for
should
both
never get
heroes
hit
and
with
villains
anything.
sucks.
Like they should never like lose a fight with anyone unless they can also go fast, you know, like that kind of stuff.
So you get into the quandaries of man at that point.
Yep. Yep. So that's why I think it's more interesting to put these limitations on it.
Can I add something to like the strip potentially, like the top bits and stuff?
Yeah.
If the rest of y'all like decide to have like super broken and OP powers, are we allowed to like throw in a con? Like, be like,
I
oh
think
yeah, you
that's
won't
Add a
fly.
stipulation to
Exactly.
it.
Be
Yeah.
like, you like say Mike just says his number one is like fly or something. I'm like, yeah, but it's like you have wings that have endurance or something or just
Yeah.
something like that.
You have to sprout like full giant wings.
or like
you know?
you have like a height limit. You know?
You have a height limit for flying. That'd
Is,
be
this,
awesome.
is it like a Minecraft highlight?
Uh-huh. But yeah, just to like me and Jake have put like kind of cons to our powers,
Yeah.
and so I think it,
We nerf
it'd be,
them in some way. Yeah.
Exactly, we have to nerf y'all if
That's
y'all
probably
choose
fair.
If y'all choose broken powers.
We'll figure out some limitation for them.
I remember one of my powers now.
All right, go for it.
Okay. So this is one also that I stole from Mondo's brother, which is funny because he's contributed more than us to this podcast so far. But it was just genuinely a funny idea. It was you had like these little popper things. He described it as like
Like the
a little
ones
pop-
from 4th of July?
Yeah.
like a little popper, and you would throw it wherever. Like if you're anywhere in the world, you could throw it, preferably away from you, and it would like spawn a McDonald's from anywhere on the, like it would take a McDonald's from somewhere on this planet.
Oh my god.
Any random McDonald's. You have no say in which
So it
where
would
it was
steal
from.
a McDonald's from somewhere.
Yeah, and it just
And
it
plop it
just
With
in.
all
showed
of
up.
the customers and employees
Yeah,
inside
and
of it.
if it was in the building, it's there now. And
Does
you
this
can
include like parking lot too? And like
no, just pure brick and mortar walls.
What happens if you throw it like 5 feet away from you? Do you go inside the
Yeah,
McDonald's?
I mean it's not gonna like you're just gonna it's just gonna put
It'll replace. It'll move people to where
Have,
they don't.
have you ever played Fortnite?
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
how he described it. He's
it's
like, you know, a porta fort in
Yeah,
Fortnite.
it's like a porta fort.
Interesting. All right.
But
so
so
instant
you could-
McDonald's is
instant
your
McDonald's,
superpower.
so you could eat from anywhere, and when it goes back, because it has like you have like an hour to eat your lunch or
So
whatever.
there's a cooldown on this McDonald's.
So
and
you
then
have
it
like
goes
an
back.
hour. You have an hour before the McDonald's goes back to wherever it was, and if you're in it, you go back with it. But if you're not, you don't.
So does
So
this
you
like
could teleport
Yeah,
using
so you can
random
essentially
McDonald's.
You teleport and you get free McDonald's, but you
it's
don't.
free.
does it
Well,
traumatize?
no, I mean, are you gonna pay? if
Well,
you
that's
if you leave with the McDonald's, then you might want to pay. But if say you're like stranded in like the Arctic and you spawn a McDonald's and then, or I guess if you're stranded somewhere fine where you're like in population, I want McDonald's, but you don't have any money. You just spawn a McDonald's, go in, say, oh, I left my wallet outside, and if they're not paying attention because this is minimum wage workers, they're not going to care. So you just walk out like, oh, I'll be back in a minute, and then it's gone, and you're like, well, what am I going to go to Hamburg, Germany to go pay off this McDonald's wherever this McDonald's came from?
the McDonald's CEO is like, this guy didn't pay for it. I don't know where our
Track him
chain
down.
went, but
So what happens to the employees? Do they get like traumatized every time this happens?
do they even realize?
like? Do they
I mean,
realize
if they like,
if
there's
they look out the
windows-
windows?
if they look out the windows, they're probably like, oh wow, I don't remember I don't remember it snowing or whatever.
So do they not feel the teleportation at all?
No,
Okay, so it's
And-
because it's instantaneous.
yeah,
Say you're in like Venice or somewhere where there's not a lot of room, like NYC. Does it just replace like a storefront?
yeah, sure, yeah, let's go with that.
So,
It'll
like,
it'll like
the
break
M&M
something if
store
it's in the way.
NYC, you just
Wait,
toss
wait.
a popper in there and it becomes a random McDonald's.
Yeah, wait. Does it break the building that you just spawned in,
Yeah.
or does it replace it?
No, it just replaces. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I think it'd be funny.
You
that
toss
could
it
be
in
the
the
con.
M&M store, and wherever that McDonald's is, bam, there's an M&M store.
I like that idea
So
more.
they swap places.
And then like if you do it like in a random patch of like Antarctica or whatever, then like you could be
Antarctica
in like
goes to wherever the McDonald's came from.
yeah, you could be in like Lexingville, Tennessee or something,
In
and then
Tennessee,
just
it's like-
randomly below 40.
Yeah, the Tennessee just is like a random patch of snow all of a sudden
yeah,
in summer.
and then an
you know?
hour later it goes back.
That's
Scientists
fun.
would love this
Yeah.
one.
I like that one.
That's a
fun.
cool one. Instant McDonald's is a favorite of mine now.
See,
Man, we should have had Eleazar on the podcast.
I know. He just was like last night. He got back from his nursing stuff from his clinical, and then we heard it. He told us about, or we told him about this, and he was like, "Oh man,"
Because he
just
loves
started
random
spitting
topics.
ideas.
He loves random topics like these.
He probably would enjoy the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd just like to point out that Jake was worried that this would not be long enough, and my recording is already at half an hour.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And we haven't even gotten through all of the superpowers.
Oh good
Yeah,
lord.
we have not.
So
Maybe we should just stick it to one.
Stick it. Yeah,
One
we can
of-
stay
one
to
a pot.
one. Yeah. Chase, do you have a superpower?
my superpower, and I've already put a limiter on it for you. My superpower would be telekinesis, aka the ability to move physical objects with my mind.
Okay, what are your limitations on
My
this?
limitation is that so it is still a superpower. It is 3 times your strength.
Oh.
So you can only move things 3 times what you could physically move yourself.
So like
So you can't like lift like a mountain.
you can't lift a building.
It's not ridiculously like, oh, I'm gonna shove the earth out of orbit.
yeah, yeah.
Like if you can lift 100 pounds with your hands, you can lift 300 with this. So if you
Correct.
work out in real life, your power.
But because
Your
it's a
power
3
grows.
times multiplier,
Yeah.
you get even stronger. So if you can like deadlift, if you train and you can like now deadlift 500 pounds, Congrats.
So how does that translate? Because because if we're basing this off of workouts, certain workouts you can lift more than others. Where is your? Is it like do you physically have to
When
do
you're
the
using
limit?
telekinesis, you have to get into the position
Okay.
of the workout.
So if
And
I
then
don't-
I don't know about that one.
It's like you're bench pressing on the ground invisibly stuff, but then you're moving things telekinetically.
I like that one.
That's
Yeah,
that's
me
kind of
too.
funny. And then
Well, because here's the thing. For most people, I think deadlift is probably what people are the strongest with.
Usually,
But then squats are next. And I feel like the squats would be the most useful anyways.
really.
Because,
How would
I
they be
mean,
more
if
useful?
you think about it, if you're going to pick anything up, a squat is going to, like,
Yeah, I guess.
that's pretty much, I mean, other than, like, picking something up.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, but you can if you don't need it to go super high, you can get away with a deadlift doing that.
Or a bench press. Like imagine if I want to pick up, say this microphone weighed like 2 tons, you know, or however much.
Yeah.
And I could just. Do I have to be like on my back, or can I just be in this position of doing this like a bench press?
I think as long as you're engaging the same muscles, it's
So
fair game.
this-
Yeah, so you don't have to be on your back.
Okay.
You're picking something up off the ground and you just feel a massive pump.
Yeah.
So it's just telekinesis with exercise forms.
Which
Yeah.
this might kind of break the logic, but I feel like you'd still be able to fly.
What?
So could you move yourself with telekinesis?
Because, like,
Is that
if you
the-
can jump, that's essentially picking yourself up.
Oh well, that's just like
Or like
that,
a
that
solo.
Minecraft
You just
glitch where
get
you
a-
keep hitting your friend and you just keep levitating.
But then the limitation on the speed there would be 3 times as fast as you can run, and that's it. So if you can only run like 7 miles an hour, then your fastest flight speed would be like 21 miles an hour.
Oh, so like a
But you wouldn't
residential
be you
neighborhood.
wouldn't be flying. You would just be running fast. And for jumping, you would just be able to jump 3 times further and higher. You wouldn't be flying
Okay,
though.
I can live with that. Yeah.
Wait, but how does this have to do
No,
with
because you can pick
telekinesis?
something up and run with it. So I feel like
So you're picking yourself up and running with yourself.
Yeah.
For flying. No, that's breaking the laws.
Yeah, I
You have to use physical muscle groups. This is
yeah,
the-
because that's the thing. If you're being lifted up, where you're putting the pressure on your muscles? If we've established the rule that you have to activate your muscles, if you're lifting yourself up and you're trying to push, you're just pushing air. What are you activating?
Wait, but that's exactly what you're pushing is air.
I mean, yeah, but you're pushing air and you're trying to lift up. I mean, you're pushing like a gram of air, so you're lifting 3 grams of your body.
Like, okay, hold on. Let me use an example real
Okay.
quick. You know the VR game? Was it? Is it? It's the sorcery one.
Blade and Sorcery?
Blade and sorcery.
Yeah.
You know how the telepathy
Yeah.
power you can push down like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. You do like a deadlift or like you do the bench press formation but downwards.
So that's more like pushing the earth.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I can live with that one. But the way
But
he
that
described
seems like
it
a
didn't make
jump
any
to
sense.
me. Like
yeah, that
that-
just seems like a
that's
jump.
a jump.
I
It's
don't-
not like flying.
Yeah,
not
I don't know about
flying. There's
flying.
not perpetual flight with this.
I think of it as like kind of like a Hulk jump, you know?
Exactly.
It's just
yeah.
a big
But
jump.
just
So
with your power.
I guess the way that a better way that I would describe that is basically think of like an omnipotent hand. That doesn't make any sense. Hang on.
If there was someone else with telekinesis, they could lift you up and move you around, but you can't do it to yourself.
So you're saying 2 people with telekinesis can pick each other up and fly?
Maybe. I don't know.
If they can lift each other up, yeah.
They could lift it, they could like tag team
Well,
it so
'cause
they could
here-
jump.
here was
That's the
my-
Minecraft thing. That's
Here
what I was
was-
talking about.
Well, here was my logic with that is because if I can pick this cup up and start running with it, then I'd pick myself up and move myself. It wouldn't necessarily be that I wouldn't have to be running physically, but my legs still get activated as if I were running with an object.
So it's not that
It's just
you
like an
have
Inception based.
So it's that your body reacts as if so.
Right.
Okay, that feels like a little cheating. And
Yeah, you're stretching it a little bit.
It's still limited to 3 times. Like your max
yeah.
speed is like 25 miles an hour.
But
Where are
you're
you
still
going at 25 miles an hour that you
perpetually
wouldn't just take a car?
I'm calling it our version's better.
Yep.
Sure.
There we go.
Chase, you're
How's it
officially
feel, Chase?
You're
to be-
officially off the
Yeah.
show. Me and Mondo will be
Dang.
taking over from
All
now
right.
on.
How's it
Bye,
feel to have your
everyone.
idea
It was
put down?
nice
'Cause it's
knowing you.
stupid.
It was a great run, 3 episodes. Had a fantastic time. I'll see you never.
So there's actually another debate about telekinesis that we wanted to touch on real
God.
quick. So
It's this one is one that my mom and I argue about a lot. She is of
no. Just give them the straight question. Don't tell them who is who, and see what they think blind.
Yeah.
So this is going back into the realm of overpowered telekinesis.
Okay.
Is teleportation a part of telekinesis? If I have telekinesis, can I teleport? Or can I teleport other objects?
I mean,
No.
I would say no.
Why? Explain why.
I think we know who's on what side.
No.
Dude, you came out swinging on that. Like, why? Huh?
Why?
Explain yourself.
Explain
We
yourself.
need to
because-
hear for proof reasons that why you think it that way.
Those are two completely different powers.
Why are they different powers? Explain it.
Well, telekinesis is being able to move stuff with your mind,
Okay.
right? The other one is teleporting an object to you or
Just
away
like-
from you. You can't do that with telekinesis.
It's like
you can move it away, but that's not teleportation.
or telekinesis is like a continuous movement.
Exactly.
Teleportation is instantaneous. That's where I would draw the line.
Perfect.
My reasoning behind this
Oh,
was
wait,
that
were we on your side?
yes,
The bait and switch.
my mother is of the opinion that you can teleport if you have telekinesis.
And we're both like, no, you can't teleport. That's instantaneous.
Does your mom listen to this podcast?
Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am, what's her name?
Milena.
Melina. Ma'am, Melina, you sound like a lovely lady. But you can't beat all these nerds on this conversation, okay?
We are all Class A
She also
dorks.
knows
Yeah,
that this
we-
conversation is happening. I told her last night.
You sound lovely. You've raised a great boy. He got you beat on this one. I can't. He got you beat on this one.
Well, my reasoning was teleportation is the bending of space-time fabric.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
it's
a wormhole kind
it's
of thing.
bending space-time, and you're going from one point in space-time
Yeah,
to
what's
another.
her
it's like you
argument?
fold a piece of paper and put
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't really understand what she's
I don't
getting
know that
at
she's
with
ever
that.
like,
just like, "No!"
logically explained.
That's where we have her. Is we always
reasoning.
we have some form of logic.
Yeah, there's logic.
Kind
so
of.
we're
I
all
mean-
four of us are in agreement that teleportation is not the same as telekinesis. Correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Melina.
Sorry, Melina. You've been beat
Sorry.
by
See ya
4 college
Thanksgiving.
students.
Now we're gonna go into the second portion of this episode, which is where we're gonna talk about time travel and various methods. We have about 6 different versions that we're gonna talk about, kind of define what is in them, which gives some examples. Just see which one you guys think is the most realistic or the one you like the most. The first one we have is the branching / multiverse theory. So it's where every time you travel through time, you go to a different timeline, a different universe that isn't the one that you just traveled from.
So the end game version.
Sort of. So Endgame has multiple different versions on this list, and we'll talk about
okay.
different parts of it.
Okay.
But yes, like in theory, it's the branching timeline where you travel to some other time and you're no longer in the same one that you were in. It's like different timelines.
Yeah.
Completely.
It's like you being there, going back to that has made a new timeline.
Yes.
Okay.
That's where the difference starts.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
if you were to look in the past of your first timeline, there's no version of you in the past because it's a different timeline. You know, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The website we got this from has some examples. It says Loki used it extensively, Back to the Future, Avengers Endgame a little bit, Rick and Morty uses this a lot, Wrinkle in Time, things like that.
Yeah.
One of the questions I had about this version of time travel is if you travel to a different timeline, are you able to go back to your original one or are you stuck?
Well, that's if you had a answer to this question, would answer that is, are these all predetermined? And if like this specific timeline that you're from, that you're leaving when you travel through time, if you go back and like, is that a whole timeline? And then there's one that you don't go back. So like, do they all like exist from beginning to end already, and we're just playing it out like a tape?
Well, that's the question, kind of.
Isn't there another version of
There's
time travel?
the next one we'll talk about is single timeline, where everything is predetermined, including all time travel is
okay.
already based
So
in
then no, for this version.
It might
the
be
answer would
better
no.
to run through a few of them first and then talk about the differences between them.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically what I'm thinking with this one is branching. You potentially could leave your time, because here's the thing, we decided last night that time travel wouldn't include multiverse travel, because within the infinite multiverse theory there is a universe where every single decision, including time travel, is made, and it just gets into this mess where anything goes.
Yeah.
So
You get into the nature of infinity, and everything
Right.
has happened in any way possible, and it's kind of like a killjoy to time travel
So
thinking.
thinking about this in terms of timelines, branching timelines, not necessarily, I mean, it's different universes, but they're just different timelines. You could travel to a different branch, but then the question is if you could get back to your own timeline, because
Or-
in that timeline, you would have just been gone for that period of time. You would not have existed in that timeline.
Well, I don't know, Mondo. What do you think?
Like, would you have existed in back in your original one?
Or
Well,
is
so
that the
okay, so
question?
I'm in this timeline right now. We're living along. I travel to the past, creating a branch in the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Can I come back to my original timeline, or when
Does
I
that
travel
create-
back,
it creates a
am I
new one?
creating yet another branch?
Do you come? Well, wouldn't it be if you came back right at the exact same time, to where like theoretically you didn't leave?
So you think if you find the exact instant where you leave and come back, does that like mend the timeline so that you
Yeah.
never actually
So like
left?
whenever you time travel, you have like
Or-
an anchor point that you
Yeah.
come back to.
That if
Or
I
is there,
think that's fair.
Or
If,
is
if
there
you're
a
doing
ti-
like a Doctor Who kind of a thing, you could program it to have a tether point.
or does it create a new one? But there's also a timeline that you never time traveled in.
Well, see, and that's the question.
Yeah.
That's
Which
the other
one-
side of this.
Which one is the quote unquote most likely,
what do you think?
or which one?
I don't know.
I think what would happen is you time travel out of your original into another one, creates another one, and then in your attempt to get back to the original, you just
create
create
a
another
third.
one. So you create 3 timelines. Because in my mind, the act of time travel in this scenario actively creates new timelines. So you can't
Okay.
you can't actually get back to the
So
one you
it's
were.
it's not moving between them. It's creating.
Yeah,
them.
creating a new one every single time. So the third one could be identical in pretty much every way,
Except
but
that
it
you were
is-
just gone for half
it
a
is
second or whatever.
It is technically a third timeline.
Okay.
So I think actually that is the theory behind this, because it is branching. It's not that there's already a full-on tree with just infinite numbers of timelines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're
I
actively
guess
creating new ones.
that does make more sense.
Yeah, that's kind of how I think about it for this one. There's other ones that get wackier.
Oh God.
The next one is not so much. It is your single timeline. Any time travel that you do is contained within a single timeline. So some examples are Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban with the Time Turner, and also Peabody and Sherman.
Oh, okay.
You ever see that movie?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that one is mainly used when you have the conundrum of meeting yourself or
Yeah.
creating these paradoxes
Yeah.
where things happen. And so if you change something, it changes the entire timeline.
There's no branches, and that time travel had always happened at that point.
I
You know?
think that one sounds like it could maybe. I mean, it'd be really hard to explain with like science
it's
now.
literally
But,
yeah.
but it sounds like it would just be a mess in general.
Yeah,
it would
to-
create paradoxes left, right, and center. Like they'd be
That's where
everywhere.
most of the paradoxes of time travel come from. There's
Yeah.
like the grandfather
Grandfather
clause.
paradox.
There's the meeting yourself in infinite selves if you keep
Traveling back
traveling
to
to
the
the
same-
same
yeah.
time.
Marty McFly dating his own mom.
I mean, that was
Yeah.
I think that was the whole plot behind Peabody and Sherman.
Yeah.
is that they ended up
They
creating
touched
too many
themselves,
versions of themselves,
and they started like sucking into each other and like becoming the same person. It was like a paradox.
Yeah, I think the issue with like how Prisoner of Azkaban handled it is that they handle it where they don't meet each other. You know,
Yeah.
like
Well,
they,
the way that they do it, it's technically already happened.
Yeah.
That's the point of this
So,
timeline is all time travel has already happened.
But like the reason why they didn't meet each other is because Dumbledore told them like make sure you don't see yourself, you know. But what if that didn't happen? What if they
Yeah,
did see
what
each
if they
other?
met
That's
each
what, that's what
other?
I'm wondering. Like, would it just destroy a timeline?
You get into Peabody and Sherman.
Well, because then
where-
you could stop yourself from doing it in the first place,
Uh-huh.
and then you wouldn't be there to stop yourself from stopping yourself. And it
No,
would
but
just
you would
flip-flop.
though. That's the thing.
Well, no,
because if you stop yourself, then it would have already happened. It would have just changed how it happened.
Yeah, well, if we're talking about the Harry Potter one specifically, like
Yeah,
their goal
that's what I'm talking about.
Their goal was to go back and change something, and only one thing.
Right. So essentially, what that means is before they even knew about the time travel,
They were already doing
that
it.
was already
Yeah.
happening. It was already going to happen.
But if they ran into each other, they could have potentially accidentally caused themselves to not go in the first place.
I don't think so.
So here's something.
Well, I mean,
no, I agree with Micah.
well, because like maybe like because that's the thing, we're thinking of it in a fictional sense of like, oh, of course not. But like if it was like me or you, and I accidentally was like, if I overheard myself saying like, oh, this sucks, you know, or like time travel is crazy, and then we're like, you second guess yourself and you don't go back in the first place, then you're in a loop.
Well, see, but the thing is, your future self being there to stop you means that at some point you go back in time.
Yeah,
So
but
if you
yeah.
were to stop yourself, you still have to go back at some point because
that's the
there's been
but
a
no, that's the
future self.
paradox though.
Yeah, that's what Micah's trying
is
to
that
say.
if you stop yourself, you aren't able to stop yourself. See, that's the problem.
Right. I mean, you can stop yourself going in one way, but then some way or another, you end up going back in time still.
So, like, okay, think about it like this: so we're in this room right now, and let's imagine me from the future walked
Right.
into this door right now and
Right.
said, "Micah, do not time travel." Then, if I don't, what happens?
This opens the door into like predeterministic futures.
Yeah.
So like in this scenario, for it to work and not be a paradox, your future is predetermined. Like everything's
Is that what you're
predetermined.
saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Is
Yeah.
that
I thought you were saying
no
like there
matter-
was.
So no matter
okay.
what
No, it-
happens, you are going to time travel at some point. You don't have a choice in it.
I thought
Because
you
that
were-
is
okay.
the future.
That
That
is
is
the
your
future.
future.
That
Yeah.
makes more
It's
sense.
a single timeline. You cannot escape it.
Okay.
Because in the act of telling yourself not to, then you are now put on the path of going to time travel and
So
making
this
that.
Okay.
this second version of time travel is deterministic, where everything is predetermined from the beginning of everything. The previous one,
that's the difference.
Yeah, the branches is not whatever is the opposite of that, where you make choices and it changes things, and things are not determined.
Yeah.
you know. So that's the fundamental difference I think between those two.
Okay.
Which you know,
That one's goofy.
it's,
Well, 'cause it's hard to-
It's weird.
it creates a lot of logic loops and paradoxes.
Because that asks questions of like, which one's the right one? You're like,
Right,
who
yeah.
decided that? How was it? How did it start?
Do you
know?
think the future is determined? Do you think everything is determined?
No.
In real life?
I don't.
Yeah.
Mondo, what do you think?
No.
You don't think so?
So it's probably one of the least likely, but because it is simple enough to understand, a lot of movies tend to use that version of time travel.
If it was real, like if we were wrong, that'd be pretty.
That'd be whack.
I mean, it'd be a philosophical conundrum
Yeah,
for sure.
that'd be gnarly, for sure. That'd be really gnarly.
Every professor that has taught philosophy will have had a major meltdown at the thought that that they had a right answer for a question like that.
Yeah.
There is no free will.
That's the whole point of philosophy, is like trying to answer these questions. And like, you know, in this
A
version
lot
of
of
the
people will be
universe.
out of jobs at
yeah.
that point. It's like, do we have a set choice? No.
It's almost like it never mattered in the first place that there was philosophy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, this one is very downer. What's the next one?
The next one is anything goes.
Oh. Just freeballing it?
So this one's a little hard to describe because it is literally just there are no repercussions, there are no paradoxes of time travel. People, I mean, it's basically
So there's just no logic to it.
right. It's as if humans gained the ability to travel within the fabric of space-time itself. There's no real logic to it. It's just, hey, you want to go back to the past? Cool, let's do it.
So I could go back in time, give a caveman a Bane energy drink, and it wouldn't affect anything in today's time.
Theoretically,
And there'd be no repercussions for our current world. There would be no branches. It's just how it is.
there would
you
be.
know?
I think, ideally, there would be like universal laws about like duplicating yourself so many times. Like, I imagine when you time travel, you just cease to be in that present, and you just go back to the past, and everyone's just time traveling everywhere.
Like it's like driving a car or something like that.
But
like,
it makes a really interesting question. It's like, well, what happens? Because if you have a bunch of Gen Zers going back to caveman times,
Giving
it's
each other bang energies like
right.
Mondo.
It's like, what the heck happens? But in this version of time travel, it's like, I don't know. There's no
Yeah.
like universal repercussions for
Yeah.
changing the past. It's just something happens, something changes. I don't know.
Give those cavemen that Red Bull and Doritos and see what they react to it.
Give them some wings.
Yeah, this is where like the true experiments happen. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I don't. I mean, obviously, I think this one's probably the least likely because
Yeah.
we probably would have seen it already.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because then we would just have.
I'm just
Shut up.
unless this is like just the century or like the millennium of prohibition of time travel. It's like they've put laws. It's like no time travel for this millennium or something. We haven't seen it yet or something.
Well, that'd be stupid.
We
Why
couldn't
would-
know.
Well,
We
yeah,
couldn't
that's why
know.
prohibition didn't work in the first place.
Yeah, well, he does have a point there.
Like the next version of time travel that we have is probably the most realistic. This one is the concept of time dilation or relativity. So
So Jake's power.
kind of,
Yeah,
yeah.
kinda,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not so much because you are separate from everything else. So
Okay.
think of like Interstellar or Einstein's theory of relativity. Like if you're
Oh.
going light speed, you're technically traveling into the future because you end up aging slower than everything else around you.
So, but that's a one way. You can't go backwards.
yes.
Correct.
So is it like light year stuff, like how we might not see planets like right
Light
now
year's a
because
perfect example
Yes.
of that.
we're
Yeah.
not seeing it, may already exist. Okay.
As far as we know, that's like actually how reality does
That,
work.
Yeah.
That's like, well, because
One-way time travel into the future.
that's
It's
just
like-
how we interact with time as a whole. It's
Yeah.
just the scaling is different.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
correct.
it's just we're not perceiving it yet for our own eyes.
But like if you're moving at the speed of light,
You will be able to perceive it.
you'll be
Yeah.
able to perceive that as
Going into the
actual-
future.
going into the future, even though technically your body is still moving to in your perspective, you're moving at the same speed
At the same
you were,
rate, yeah.
But anything
Right.
before that, or everything else that's not you, perceives you as boom gone. Yeah, that's probably the most realistic one. That one's really interesting because, like how you said, like you can see stuff like when you see light that is moving at that speed.
Yeah.
you can see stuff that happened billions of years ago
Like,
right now.
Yeah, like if we like grab a telescope and look into space, we're looking into the past.
Yeah,
you
Right.
know? Yeah.
like billions of years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like at some
Aliens
point
looking over here are still seeing dinosaurs.
Yeah.
at some point we
Exactly.
can see light from the Big Bang.
Yeah, if you go far enough out.
If you can see like far
Far
enough
enough.
into space, you can see light that's just now hitting us from the beginning of the universe.
and that's why we
Theoretically.
have, that's why we
Theoretically.
have an observable universe, because we cannot see further than that. So the universe could be
There-
bigger than that, but we
yeah.
don't actually
The
know
light just
because
hasn't reached us
light
yet.
hasn't gotten there yet. You know?
Yeah. I remember I read something like I think it was like a year ago that they found material or something like that they could trace back to like a couple billion years before what they measured as the earliest time, and they were like, wait a minute. So they like the Earth, or not the Earth, the universe was like 4 billion years older than they thought it was,
Yeah.
and they were just like, well, this changes everything.
Changes everything. Yeah.
Maybe maybe one of us went back or was speeding real fast and decided to change something.
Yeah, I had my Heelys and I was going for a really long time, and I
You
just
were
went-
late for class. You had a bang energy, no clothes on.
It was all me with my wacky super speed, messing everything up.
That's great.
All
What's-
right, these
what's the next
last
one?
two are some of the most mind-boggling.
Yeah, we're getting to the wacky ones
My
now.
mind boggled.
So the second most mind-boggling, also the second to last topic, is what I found to be called the unstuck mind. So essentially, I think this is another version where it only affects you and your consciousness. The explanation is that your consciousness travels to different times of your life. So you are restricted to your body and your specific timeline.
Oh, I like
but
this
you travel. So an example is X-Men Days of Future Past when Wolverine goes back
yeah.
and has his bone claws again. Or in Endgame when Scott Lang tries to do time travel but ends up coming back as like a baby or an old man.
Yeah.
His mind is moving around to different parts of his
Yeah.
his timeline.
Wait, so is it
His life.
you're actually traveling, or is it you're just reliving memories?
It's just your
Well, it
consciousness.
could be argued both ways.
Yeah.
But then you could also go into the future, so it can't be reliving memories if you're
Okay.
going.
Oh,
into
you
the
could go
future.
into the future like
Right.
that too?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
'Cause
puts a whole
it's,
new
it's
can of worms
just
in there.
time travel. It's not necessarily past travel.
Okay.
But it is
So
restricted
you
to
are
your
restricted
body.
to your body.
Can you change things or can you?
Yeah, like once you get there, you're now aware of where you are, but it's wherever you happened to have been at that moment in time. You now take over that version of you.
Can you go back?
Theoretically, yeah.
That's weird.
So in theory, you could take your current mind and place it inside your younger self.
Oh, I like that one. That's
You
fun.
know,
I would
for
scare
real.
everyone with that.
Think about like almost like a crystal ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what we think about when we say, "Oh, I wish I could see the future, see the past." Basically, that's what it would be.
yeah.
Although an interesting caveat to that one is you actually wouldn't be able to go into the past because you
Yeah.
weren't alive then.
Yeah. Wait. So if I went back to like day one,
You
Would
would remain.
would I be physically able to like say like I know how to talk right now? Would I be able to talk then, or would it be
No, because you didn't have the muscles developed.
so? Okay.
You're still restrained
You're
by your
conscious.
physical
Yes.
body. So that's like an argument of like, are babies physically able to talk, or is it only mentally keeping them behind? I don't know for sure, but I think Chase is right. They have to develop muscles to do that. So you would know what was happening, but you wouldn't be able to physically move your mouth and your vocal
I don't
cords.
think it's a boss baby thing where you come out and bam, you're taking over the world as a 5-month-old.
Dang.
Man, I'd probably
You
go
can't be
back.
boss baby.
I'd probably go back to when I was like 3 and invest in the home crisis. You know?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah.
investing in Apple, Netflix. You're like a
Exactly.
6-year-old and you're
'cause
predicting.
what were the big things that were starting up when we
Apple.
were kids? Well, Apple was already big. I mean,
How old is Apple?
Apple started in like 04.
Well, no, what?
No, it was like 01, wasn't it?
01?
I think so. Right?
Apple?
Well, sorry,
The company
not,
of Apple?
Not Apple. iPhones.
iPhones came out in 2007.
Oh, okay.
The
Really?
iPod
I
It
thought
came
doesn't
was
matter
4.
when they start. Like you could still invest in them because you know they're going to grow like crazy. Like
Yeah,
Disney, you can invest
Apple
in
would
Disney.
be the smart
Oh,
one.
it was
Yeah.
07. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the iPod came
What
out in
was
2001. 2004, the Nano, I think.
Apparently, Google got big in 04.
Yeah.
Gmail was
Do you know
created.
Shaq invested in Google?
No.
Yeah.
What a smart man.
What a smart man.
Yeah.
He also was in the Ring doorbell game before anyone else.
Really?
Yeah.
That I did know.
Because he wanted security for his house, and they were going to be like $40,000 for like security systems.
Yeah,
and
it was like
he got a
professional
Ring-
level
So he
security
started
system.
And
And
he-
he was like,
investing in Ring.
heck no.
He got a Ring doorbell for like $150, and he's
Yeah.
like, I'm investing in this company.
See, that's what I would have done if I decided to time travel back.
Well, you know what we could have done? We could have bought Bitcoin.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
things,
was-
like that
Yeah.
would be
Because
like...
that was like, what, $2 a Bitcoin?
It was cents, dude.
Back
when
then.
it first started.
Yeah.
It
In,
was
like,
worse
yeah, in
because you had to pay
2006.
like There was that story of the dude who paid for a pizza with like 10,000 Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
I wish.
Poor bastard. I mean, God.
So
I think he said it like translated to like tens of millions of dollars today.
You can
So if
cut
we
that
had
out.
this power, we would use it for insider trading, is what we're saying.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it would be legal because we didn't technically actually insider trade. We just future traded.
It's like a
They can't prove
it's like
that
a time
we-
travel version.
It's
of
not like we
insider
stole
trading.
anything.
It's literally just investing.
It's just investing. Just we have knowledge that they don't.
So it's
Isn't that what insider trading is?
No, well,
Across
but
time.
insider trading is illegal because it's from inside of a company. But we were never inside of a company.
But the concept is the same.
the concept is the same, yes, but the legality would be different.
That's the only thing we care about here. Not ethics, not logistics.
We're talking about the
just
stock market
legality.
here. We're talking about the stock market. You're
There is no
you're one
morals
of
or
the-
Fair
ethics
enough.
with the stock
Apparently,
market.
Micah is an expert in the stock market.
Boy, I have my I don't even know what the the qualifications for being able to trade is.
This one's my favorite because
Is it?
it's so wacky.
Okay.
The last version of time travel we're going to talk about is what I'm going to call the unstuck body, or what Jake lovingly calls it, the time pincer. And because I know virtually nothing about it, with only the example of Tenet to go off of, I'm going to let Jake explain
Have you guys
this one.
seen the movie Tenet?
No.
I know it's goofy with how it deals with time.
Bro, this movie is insane. So what happens in Tenet is you can like invert the flow of time for yourself individually while the rest of time is still flowing normally. So what happens is you walk into a chamber and it inverts they call it like your entropy or whatever. They say they give some kind of,
Weird science term.
weird science explanation, whatever. So you invert your specific time and you start moving backwards while the rest of time is still moving forwards. So from everyone else's perspective, you are physically walking backwards and like breathing backwards. In the movie, you have to take air with you so that you have inverted air so you can actually breathe in the air. Because if you didn't have that air, you would suffocate because you couldn't breathe in air. You would only exhale air or something like that. So in this movie, they do this really cool maneuver I think it's called the temporal pincer is what it's called. It's like a tactical maneuver where what happens is you split into two tactical teams, Team A and Team B, red team and blue team, whatever. You start at the same point in time. One team inverts themselves and starts moving backwards while the other team is moving forwards at the same rate, right? And then at some predetermined point or time, I guess, like let's say 20 minutes, they spend 20 minutes going their own ways, and then they both invert themselves so that they're now pointing towards each other again. So the team that was going backwards is now going forwards, and the team that kept going forwards is now going backwards. So they approach the same point in time where they started the entire thing from different angles.
Oh.
You see what I'm
and
saying?
so they can just do whatever they're doing to them as it's the same?
Yeah, and so you have one team approaching the point where they began from behind, going forward, and you have another team approaching that same point from way in the future, going backwards. And at some point, they intersect each other at the same point where they started again. And so they use this in the movie to do some crazy tactical maneuvers where, like, they go in and out of the same events and they plant different things in different areas, and it gets crazy. But I think it's really wacky.
So, like, if I started doing that type of time travel in this room, would the room, like, be de-aging, but time is still moving forward, or what?
From our perspective,
You would be going backwards.
you would start going backwards.
Like, I would, like, get up from this chair and start walking backwards, or what?
Like, if
Like,
it was like,
yes.
say it's like all the way up until like a couple hours ago, you'd be going through this podcast backwards.
Yeah.
To you, we'd be going backwards,
But
right?
yes, yes. From the real world, from the normal world, you would start going backwards and saying everything that you said up until this point backwards in reverse.
And
so
we would do the same from your
for your perspective. Yeah, from your perspective, you would keep going forward from your point of view, and we would start saying exactly what we did, but in reverse. We just start going backwards
So-
through everything we said.
So within that specific allotted time, everything is predetermined then, right?
No, because the future, I think the way it works is the future is still undetermined, but you can just once you go to the future, you can then start going backwards.
And then
It's
you
not
can-
actually traveling; it's just reversing the flow of
Yeah,
time.
reversing the flow
and
of
then
time.
and it's like you said, like they would plant stuff in the past and stuff like that.
Yes, they
so
would.
so you can't change what happens in the future.
Yes,
Technically, yes.
you could,
Yeah.
but it's still the present. You
Like
know?
I could time travel back in time.
So this is
Put like a landmine under your chair, and then like now then the future you explode.
yeah, when I come to sit
Okay.
down, I would
yeah.
explode.
That actually sounds like a
Which begged, I'm curious if
landmine under his chair.
if Micah starts going back in time and he starts walking back to his room, but somebody else from our forward moving time bumps into him or like knocks him out of his backwards moving state, what happens? Does he
So-
just like recover and keep going as normal?
So this is the craziest part of the movie. This happens. This happens in the movie. Like the main character ends up fighting himself, but the backwards version of himself. So what happens in the movie is the main character goes through and then he runs into someone who's masked. So he doesn't know that it's himself, but some character who's going backwards, and they fight while one of them is going backwards through time. And he is still, like, the main character from his perspective is fighting this guy. But this guy knows all of his moves. Like, he can't get him. Like, he's trying to, he's trying to get him. He's trying to beat him. But
he already
the guy
did.
knows everything that's happening. And then the future comes along in the movie, and he realizes that, oh, it was me the whole time. And so now
So he knows exactly
he
what
inverts
to do.
himself for reasons in the movie, whatever. And then he goes through and fights himself from his past. But now the past version of himself is moving backwards from his perspective. And so he goes through and fulfills all of the movements that he already fought.
So the future is preordained then.
Or he just decided to do it the exact same way.
So that's
That's the moral quandary of
that's
this.
the thing that people are debating about.
Okay,
about the
so
movie.
that's the inconsistency that isn't
so this
explained.
this movie is really cool, but it's not perfect in its logic, and there's things like that come
no
up.
movie about time travel ever is.
The thing
It's
I've
time
heard
travel. We don't know
online is
anything about
Christopher
it.
Nolan. Tenet is a Christopher Nolan movie. He keeps getting worse at explaining time. So like he starts with Interstellar, I think. Yeah. Is it Interstellar? Because there's Interstellar, Inception, and then Tenet. So like he starts at
No, it's the other way. It's
okay,
Inception and
so
then
Inception
Interstellar.
first. He does that. That's like time within dreams and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he goes into Interstellar, which is like there's some wacky stuff at the end
Relativity and
with
whatnot.
black holes and singularities and weird stuff. Spoilers, sorry if you haven't seen the
Yeah,
movie.
then there's Batman or a couple
And so
of
they,
things
like
in
he kind of
between.
like leaves it up to chance and like kind of cops out at the end a little bit. Doesn't explain it. And then Tenet rolls around and it's like this big old exploration of an idea with like a lot of loose ends that he didn't tie up and all that stuff. It's a cool movie though. You should watch it. Anyone's listened to the podcast, watch Tenet. It's a really cool movie.
What was your mom's name again?
Millenna.
Melina, watch Tenet. Jake says to watch Tenet.
It's really cool if you're into weird stuff like that, which most people aren't, but I am, and I think it was really cool.
Need to watch it.
It's a great exploration of the idea, kind of like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
It's a really
We are Christopher Nolan.
we
is
are
what you're
Christopher
saying.
Nolan.
It's cool because it's a concept of time that nobody's ever
Yeah,
done
it's
before.
very unique.
Like
Yeah.
instead of traveling through time, you're just reversing time itself.
Yeah, but
That's,
just
that
for
was
yourself.
an interesting thing that I had never heard of.
So does that count as time travel then?
Yeah, 'cause
I
you're,
think
you're
so.
manipulating
Technically,
time.
yes,
Okay.
Technically, yeah.
but you're not like traveling.
It's
through
not like
time.
traveling through like moving from one place to another
Correct.
inherently, like instantaneously going from here to back then. It's
Yeah,
you're
you
just
you still
you're
have
just
to
changing the
move.
direction
Yeah.
like an
Right.
escalator. You're just
Time
changing
is
the direction.
always moving at the same rate. You just change which direction it's going.
So it's like the world's slowest time travel you've ever seen.
Yeah, it'll be in real
It's
time.
It's
Yeah.
real time travel.
Okay.
Which is
Oh,
interesting to think about.
does that mean that you also get younger the further back you go? Like if you were to remain in this.
No, so if you
kept doing it, would you
if
keep
you
getting-
reverse yourself, you're going backwards, but you still age.
So your body is going
Oh,
forward.
because you're just reversing your personal
So
conception
you
of time.
still get
Yeah.
older, even though you're going into the
So
past.
what if you do this too many times? Like, do you just like,
Yeah, you die.
huh?
You could die this way. You could get too old and die, because it's complicated. But
So
yeah,
I can like So
Imagine
since
dying
it's,
in the
it's,
past.
Yeah, you
Since it's
could
a-
die in the past if you don't ever unreverse yourself.
Since,
you know?
since it's from our own perspective, are we allowed to go into the past of stuff that from when we were before we were alive, or no?
Yeah, is there
Yes.
like a limit to this?
I guess depends on how
It
early
depends
you
on how old
reverse
you are.
yourself, 'cause
So
if you reverse yourself
if
at
you-
60, then
yeah, if you're going to live past double your age right now,
Oh.
then you can go further back. But
So
it's
if I
all-
live to be 90,
Then you could
if
go-
I 45 is my limit if I want to go before.
before
Correct.
90,
Yeah.
yes.
So once I get past 45 years old, I can't go all the way
you
back.
would not make it past
because I
your
would
birth.
die
It just depends on how long you live.
if I live exactly
Yeah,
90 years.
yeah.
But, you know.
But
we're
like
talking
right
about-
now, we're young enough to where we could reverse ourselves and go back to before we were born and be like, what, 30 or 40 or something?
The important
Yeah.
thing is you could still go back and do insider trading.
Yes. Just backwards.
So what I was thinking is like, what if you just died like during a time, like during an era that you liked, you know? Like if you don't like the current state of the world, just go back in time to
Yeah.
like,
Well, that is definitely a way to relive your glory days.
Yeah, like if they're, like you had to live in a country that like starts going to war or something, and it's like I'd rather be in
Not
my
at
country
war.
30 years from the
Uh-huh.
past, and you just go 30 years into the past.
Yeah.
right,
The
yeah.
linchpin
Rewind.
in that is that you
You have to
still
live
you
30
have,
years.
Well, you have to figure out how to unreverse yourself. So if you go back too far to where the technology doesn't exist to
Oh,
invert
so you just
yourself,
keep going backwards.
You stuck.
you either have to build it yourself or you're stuck going
So
backwards.
you better know how to build it and hope that you already have the materials.
Wait, so you can just reverse yourself?
So it's like a physical like.
Facility?
Yes,
It's
so,
like
you
a
can, so
chamber.
in the movie you can invert objects too. That's a big part
Oh.
of it. It's not just yourself.
So it's not like you turn it on or turn it off in your like. It's not like you think it happens and then it
No,
happens.
you walk into a chamber, and then the chamber inverts whatever's inside of it.
Oh, okay. So it's like a
like an
phenomenon that
arc
happens
reactor.
to
Yeah.
you. You don't control it.
Yeah, and in a way, like there's a part in the movie where you learn to, like influence the destiny in quotes of objects. So like they have like little rocks on a counter, and they're being still, so you can't tell if they're going forwards or backwards. And you learn to like influence their destiny so that you can like pick it up into your hand without touching it. Like it floats up into your hand because it's flowing backwards.
But
through
from the
time.
rock's perspective, you dropped it.
Yes, from the rock's perspective, you dropped it, but you're like kind of tapping into that thing. It gets weird. It gets wacky.
Christopher Nolan,
Yeah,
you've done it again.
you've confused us once
You've
again.
confused us once again.
So, anyways, I think that's a really cool version of time travel.
Yeah. That one sounds like it would be hard to do in real life,
Yeah,
but it would be fun.
it would.
That
be
one
fun.
seems like it would be the real, like if you could get it to be real, it would be the most convenient for like normal everyday life.
Yeah,
I think because you could literally just go back to like yesterday and redo something,
yeah, but you're still a day older.
but you're
Like,
still a day older.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once you
You're
you can
spending time to go
you're
back.
spending
In
time
time
to go
going
back.
backwards, but yeah,
Yeah, I
That's
like
a really
that one.
interesting one.
it's really interesting. That's why I
Just-
wanted to bring it up.
It kind of ties back into like our superpower debate, where it's like it's something that's so broken, but it has its own cons.
Yeah.
to
Right.
it.
Yeah, it has its own flair, but it's like really weird.
Uh-huh.
It's just hard to grasp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on this podcast. This was definitely probably the most fun I've had so far.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jake.
We're just talking.
We're just
about-
better than
yeah.
you.
Well, it was a really cool topic
Yeah.
to talk about.
Well, thank you for
Yeah.
having us.
Yeah.
We live down the hall. If you ever want us to come back, call first.
If,
sure?
if the fans ever say
Yeah.
we want Micah and Mondo back, just give
If they
us a
start
holler.
banging on
Yeah.
our door, we'll
You-
definitely
You know
bring
where to
guys
mail the
back
check
on.
is what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
This was your free one.
Okay, the free one.
Once
Yep.
the fans start pounding
Yeah.
your door saying, "Give us Micah and Mondo,"
This was the free trial.
Yeah.
our rate will be going up exponentially. So thank you for having us. But this was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. This was genuinely
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Now we got to go to a concert.
Yeah, we're going to a concert after this
Our
recording.
boy Drennan and his band.
Yeah.
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 So, on that note, it's time for us to leave. So, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wait, there's plenty of bloopers in this one.
Yeah.
I think we're
he's making sound.
getting good signal over here. So
Am I allowed to make that noise? Just like you know the puffer fish eating a carrot. Yeah.
Yeah, however that works.
that was actually really good.
It's just me and my girlfriend make the joke too many times.
We're also we like impressions.
This episode is a very special episode because we have guests for the first time. For the first time, we have guests. Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Man.
There's no way
We
you're
did
gonna
not agree
introduce us
to
like that.
We did not agree to that.
Is that a
You have
challenge?
no idea what he's gonna add in post.
We are walking off the set.
I'd say Mike just says his number one is like fly or something. I'm like, yeah, but it's like you have wings that have endurance or something, or just something like that.
You have to sprout like full giant wings.
Or like you have like a height limit.
We have a height limit for flying. That'd be awesome.
Is it like a Minecraft height limit?
Uh-huh.
Is this BTS now? Are we in BTS?
I don't know.
I love that band.
Oh my Lord.
On that note, it's time for us to leave. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I love you.
I'm cutting that for sure.
No, don't cut
No, I'm cutting that.
Don't cut that. If he cuts that,
No,
I
don't
will
worry.
riot.
It won't be cut. It'll just be
No.
relocated to
It'll be in
the gag
this
reel.
is the gag reel now.
I'm gagging.
Perfect.
Sweet.
All right, end it.
I
Cut it
quit.
off.
You had to get it in.